Salutations, crustaceans. Hold on one second. Salutations, crustaceans. I'm Lobster, and today we're going to be reviewing the Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass V. Let's do this. This is the Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass V, and it is quite the interesting Fender, as you can see from its very bright finish and its interesting pickup configuration. This is probably one of the most interesting Fenders that I've seen in a very long time, and is essentially almost a cross between a Fender Meteora and a Fender Player Jazz Bass V, with our bypassable Fender 3-band preamp that has no passive tone control. But let's go over all the specs of our Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass V right now. For the body, we have an alder body finished in this ridiculous yellow, highlighter yellow. I don't know what the color is called, but it is very yellow. And we have a 3-ply white pickguard, and you're going to be like, Lobster, that's not a white pickguard. It has been painted orange. So this is not an orange pickguard, and this is a white pickguard that has been painted orange. I'm curious about how that's going to wear over time. I'm not sure how many people are going to be gigging this bass, as it does carry quite the hefty price tag for a Mexican Fender signature bass. We'll talk more about that later. For electronics, we have Fender's Firecracker humbucking pickups. These humbuckers are individually wired in series, and then they're hooked up to the blend control in parallel. But the pickups themselves are individually wired in series to give you some pow firecracker tone. And as I mentioned, this is paired to the Fender 3-band preamp that has a master volume, master blend, and 3-band EQ, as well as a little bypass switch. This activates the double-tier volume pot and just bypasses the EQ completely, so you just have a volume control. This is an 18-volt EQ, by the way, and you'll see that when we turn the bass around and see the battery boxes. For the bridge, we have a Fender high-mass style, kick-ass style bridge in gold, a 5-string model with, I believe, the standard 17.5mm string spacing. Moving up to the neck, here is a very interesting neck. This is not just a bolt-on from another bass. This is truly unique for this instrument, with a beautiful 5-string roasted maple neck with a roasted maple fingerboard. We have block inlays but no binding, and overall it just looks and feels great. The overall profile is very slim and comfortable, and the nut width is a little over 45mm, just a hair. The nut width on the website is listed as 47.3mm. That's the same as my MTD here. This is not the same, no. This is a much slimmer neck for sure, so that is a mislabel on the website there. This is much closer to a 45mm nut width. The fingerboard is also very interesting because it has a compound radius going from 10 inches to 14 inches, so it kind of flattens out the farther down the neck you go. And the fun doesn't stop here. Moving up to the headstock, we have an orange painted headstock facing with a Fender Jazz Bass logo here, and 5 standard Fender style Jazz Bass tuners. These are just the regular Fender tuners in gold. These are not the lighter weight American tuners, so honestly, for what this bass goes for, I wish they had a better set of tuners, as I found these to be lacking for sure when it came to restringing this bass. They were a bit sticky and inconsistent, and wasn't the greatest tuning experience overall. Also at the headstock, we see 2 gold string trees to retain the E, A, D, and G strings, which is a very nice touch. Now let's go ahead and turn this bass around. Around back, there's not really much to see other than this bright yellow finish and the 18-volt battery cavity down here. This is a traditional jazz bass in the sense that the controls are routed underneath the control plate on the front of the bass. So if you wanted to modify the controls or the preamp, you would go through the front. One very unique and interesting touch about this bass is the neck heel and the neck plate. So the neck heel is very similar to that of the American basses. The regular Player Plus Jazz Bass V that this bass is, I guess, very loosely based on, has a regular style neck heel, just a regular 4-screw with a squared off heel. This has been rounded off a bit for better upper fret access, and that is a unique touch of the MonoNeon Jazz bass. We also have a unique gold MonoNeon neck plate that has his face there, and it's very, very cool. I like that. Moving up to the neck, we have the beautiful roasted maple neck that's finished in a satin polyurethane, and it does have a skunk stripe down the middle. And then moving up to the headstock, we can see the back of these mediocre Fender gold standard tuners. They're just regular tuners. Now, how much does the Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass 5 weigh? This particular example comes in close to 11 pounds at 10.8 pounds. On the heavier side, especially for an instrument like this. Though most of the Mexican signature basses that I have tried with the Steve Harris as well as the Geddy Lee have all been around 11 pounds, so I'm not too surprised. And how much does the Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass 5 cost? These basses come in at $1,549. That is a lot of money for a Mexican-made signature Fender jazz bass, I have to say. It does come with a gig bag, which in my opinion is not worthy of a $1,500 bass. I wish they included a better gig bag, but it's a gig bag and it works pretty well. I believe that makes this the most expensive Mexican-made Fender instrument as well, so I find that very interesting. And I have to say, big thank you to Bully the Kid for splitting this bass with me, and big thank you to Fender for getting us this bass at an artist discount. It's greatly appreciated. But now I know you're all wondering, what does this bass sound like? You all know what you need to do. Go ahead and hit that like button so my hand will turn back to normal. Thanks. So that is our Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass 5. And you heard correctly. We have a Fender jazz bass style instrument with a killer B string. That's right, this is an awesome B that we have on the Fender MonoNeon Jazz Bass Signature. Whew! I like this bass a lot actually for what it is. I don't like the price tag, but the feel of the neck is real nice. It's smooth, no sharp fret ends, it's easy to get up and down the neck. The balance in the lap is okay, but it would probably benefit from a set of lightweight tuners, I would have to say, especially being a 5-string. What you heard thus far is the preamp active and centered. This thing just has some nice jazz bass flavor with a bit more meat to it, and I like it. So let's start out by checking out these pickups individually, starting with the neck pickup. So these are both humbuckers. Each of them is wired in series for maximum output. I definitely understand why they did that with the 3-band preamp, as Mono is a guy who uses a lot of cool effects and stuff. And being able to have the flexibility with such a powerful tone will probably give you maximum results when using neat effects that I don't even mess with. So that's all for me. Way over my head. I'm just a simple lobster man who likes to play the bass, you see. So here's what our neck pickup sounds like with the preamp centered. So that is our neck pickup with the preamp centered. Let's mess with this a little bit and give ourselves a mid scoop. Let's start with that and just cut the mids all the way. Why not? Oh, very nice, very nice. Now let's go ahead and give ourselves a little mid boost. That is quite a powerful mid control, and that wasn't even all the way up. So let's leave that at center now and play with our bass control. Why not? So here's our bass boosted about 50%. Oh, very nice, very nice. Rounds out the tone nicely. And let's add a little bit more treble sizzle to that. I have fun with this bass. This is a fun bass to play, I have to say. The neck is comfortable and easy to navigate. The pickups sound great, and this preamp is okay. It's definitely not the worst Fender preamp I've played for sure. Now let's center our preamp a little bit and go over to the bridge pickup. Here's what that sounds like soloed. Oh, nice bridge pickup here. It sounds like a jazz bass pretty much, except you're not getting any single coil noise because these are humbuckers. Now let's give that the mid scoop. Just cut the mids. I'll do about 50% this time. And now let's just do the 50% mid boost. It's probably going to get a little bit spicy. Yeah, I started to play really lightly there at the end because this is a very powerful mid control. Let's bring that back to center and give ourselves a bass and treble boost. Let's start with the bass boost at around 50%. Let's actually take that down a smidge and bring our treble up a bit. Okay, let's center our preamp now and take our blend control to the center as well, engaging both of our humbuckers. Here's what that sounds like with the preamp center. Great tone from these pickups, I think. It sounds just like a fat jazz bass. Very similar to that of the Meteora. Now, I have not reviewed a Meteora on the channel yet. I hope to do so in the near future. But I've played the Meteoras in various stores and whatnot, and this sounds very similar in terms of the pickup voicing. It's like just a fat jazz bass. Now let's give this a mid-cut of about 50%. Here's what that sounds like. Real nice tone with that mid scoop. Now let's do the mid boost real quick. It's probably going to get spicy again. Here's what that sounds like. That's okay. I think the mid control is a little bit too heavy-handed on this particular preamp, but the treble and bass control work quite nicely. Let's start with a bit of a bass boost. Here's what that sounds like. Now let's add a little bit of treble to that. Here's what that sounds like. Now let's center our preamp once more and grab our pick. I'm going to do my best not to touch this pickguard here because this is again a painted pickguard, a painted 3-ply white pickguard. So here's what this bass sounds like with a pick. Let's start out with the neck pickup, preamp centered. Now let's go over to the bridge pickup soloed. Oops. And then let's center our blend control, and here's both pickups together with the pick. Just like a lot of 34 scale instruments with the Fender Jazz bass string spacing with both pickups engaged, the B string is kind of on the deader side when you're using a pick. With fingerstyle, I don't get that as much though. Keeping both pickups engaged and the preamp centered, let's give this bass a slap. And then let's do the same for the neck pickup as well. I always like slapping on the neck pickup. Let's center the blend control one final time and throw some drums behind the Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass 5. So here are my final thoughts on the Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass 5. I think this is a pretty neat bass, but I think it is priced a bit too steeply for what it is, as are a lot of Fender made in Mexico instruments. In my opinion, the craftsmanship is pretty great. No sharp fret ends and the neck is very comfortable to play, easy to navigate, and the finish is flawless. The pickguard is bowing ever so slightly. I probably attribute that to the paint finish kind of settling a bit and pulling the plastic in one way or another, but overall it is a very attractive looking instrument if you're into this sort of thing, and I absolutely dig it. In my opinion, I do wish they had a better set of tuners on this bass to match the high quality bridge that we have going on here. But these standard Fender tuners simply don't cut it in my opinion and are a bit on the stiff side, at least the ones in this particular instrument are. I also wish the truss rod access was not right over the middle string here on the headstock. I wish we had truss rod access at the heel of the neck. That would make adjusting the neck a lot easier if you ever need to do that for your seasonal adjustments. You don't need to detune any strings, you just, adjust it. But nope, we gotta do it over here and detune the A string and fun. I also wish that for the price they included a passive tone control option where they had maybe the mid control double as a passive tone when the preamp is bypassed. That's something that could be accomplished. However, they chose not to do so, and I think that's kind of a bummer given the price point of this instrument. This is not at a Meteora or regular Fender Player Series price point, but this is at $1,550 for a made in Mexico Fender. Hi, BB, how are you? But one thing that really impressed me about this bass is the pickups, and these pickups did sound quite stupendous. If you're feeling adventurous and want to mod your Fender MonoNeon Jazz bass or your Fender Meteora, I may be doing a video in the near future with a Meteora and repurposing the bypass switch to be a single coil mode, selecting the outside coils. I think that would be very neat, but that will be another time. Today we are focusing on the MonoNeon, and what am I going to rate? The Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass 5? I'm gonna rate this bass 3 claws out of 5. It sounds and plays wonderfully. The tuners are one of the weaknesses of this bass for sure, as well as the price point. But it is not outrageously priced. I just think it's priced a bit on the high side. If this was maybe $12.99 or $11.99, I think that would be a bit easier to swallow, especially given the competition. But for $15.50, I think that this is a bit overpriced. Just a little bit, not too much. So I would call this an average value overall, given how well it sounds and how well it plays, but it is also lacking a lot of things that other basses at the price point have. So there is that. But let me know what you think about the Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass 5 down in the comments below. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, join our Discord channel, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Fender MonoNeon Signature Jazz Bass 5. And as always, until we groove again.